is the takeover of Manchester United. So the bids are in.
Yeah.
Are in.
Plot twist.
Very much so. Okay, I'm going to leave it to you. When you explain it, and then I'm going to come back on because we discussed this before, and we beat up poor Andrew Flint, yourself, myself, and Keane. So take it away.
I suppose we were after realising that everyone's favourite Ineos owner is actually after giving his bid basically values the club higher in terms of the proportion of the club he wants to acquire for what he's paying. So it basically, he's valuing it at a higher rate, which obviously to the Glazers is more attractive, and they also would still, with his bid, be maintaining a stake, which is an entirely different proposition in terms of financially. We obviously have the states which are looking to acquire a club because they all want their own football club. They're looking for a full ownership from what seems to be coming out, whereas in this instance there is the possibility that the most attractive option will be for Ineos to snap up Man United, and I think it's a very interesting prospect because we've also seen so much in the British media has been very much in favour of that bid and very anti the idea of a UAE based country essentially buying into the club. They like the idea of what they perceive to be the club staying in ownership, or actually going back to ownership, because obviously the Glazers are American, but basically being Western ownership. And it's an interesting thing because I think we all assumed that no one was going to come close to the other bids, and this is the position we're in now. The Glazers, like, let's face it, if we've learned anything during the Glazers' tenure, is their biggest focus is the financial side. So then it becomes a call as to whether what they want to maintain in the company, if anything, and will they look at what they consider to be the biggest bid based on valuation of the company, even if it doesn't acquire the entirety. So it's very interesting because they've never run United like a club they have any passion or love for. It's all about what they can financially take out, and in this case, get back. So we have an interesting few days and weeks, I think, ahead of us still, because I don't know how quickly this will actually, despite the fact that it's effectively closed at this point, I don't know how quickly a decision will come about.
Well, it's a publicly listed company, so there's an awful lot more behind it as well. And I mean,
because you have to have there's like procedures in place in terms of from a corporate governance perspective as to how this will come about. But I just think that in the background, given the people involved, you and I can both have a company, and you can say to me, I want to buy 50% of your company, I'll give you €5. And I can then say to you, actually, I want to sell 100% of the company. You won't give me €10, but you'll give me €7. But I want to divest myself of the entirety. So your €7, while it isn't what I want, it may be better in terms of my end goal. So just because a bid is higher doesn't necessarily mean the end goal will be reached. So it's not like an auction where you say highest bid wins. There's a bit more to how it's offered in terms of what the terms and conditions are. I think for United at this stage, the Glazers out thing, it needs to happen, because I think it's just, there is in the background, there will always be an excuse for when they're not happy with results. But I do think it's been really interesting to watch how this campaign effectively, and this is how I view the bidding, this has been a campaign run by English media in terms of who their preference for the owner of United is. And it's just been such a strange thing. I think it was when we were doing a lot of the discussions we had in the run-up to Qatar, it's great when you get someone else on who can actually point out, are we just being, are our views on Qatar based on our westernized opinions? And it suddenly makes you go, when you look at news stories objectively, and this one in Kate, it has been very clear as to who the English media want in charge of United. Like they certainly, there's no love lost with the Glazers, but they certainly wanted to be a Western owner.
No Western, they want English, and the main thing is they all want to buddy up, because the Glazers have at a distance, so they all want their packages. They also know they will get more bums, they will get more freebies. So if we put up in a nutshell, Ratcliffe, he makes his money. He makes money from breaking down companies as well, and he's in chemical. He's an extremely intelligent man in any case. He's an expert. I know people who've dealt with him from an oil and gas and engineering point of view, and they just say he's very, very clever, and I believe that.
Let's remember, fracking is fun, said no one ever. Bad people. Equally bad people.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. It's like fracking is kind of like, a James Bond villain kind of level of extracting resources. So that's one. Second, he bought up Team Sky, who were falling apart because of a litany of doping scandals and cheating scandals, and so he bought them up and ran them as Ineos Grenadiers. He turned around, he's thrown money into Formula One, he's thrown money then into the All Blacks. He's thrown everywhere he goes, there is tainted. Manchester United, they're thinking, okay, the fans are going, yeah, we want he's our guy. But last summer, he was a Chelsea fan, grew up loving Chelsea, and now he's not. And
if he wants a football team, it's the same as the club. It's the same as when you have nation states coming in. They want a football team. They don't care who it is.
No. And he has one in France. He has a team in France.
Yeah.
With Nice. So he has a team in France where he lives. So he's a tax exile. He pushed Brexit. He's been behind. If people just open their go, hold on, this person's not in it for the good of the team. And guaranteed, United, he's not going to put the money into United. He doesn't have the money to make them a super club. They're not going to compete with Man City, but maybe they don't care. Maybe that's what the fans want. And as you said, the English media have pushed this so hard, so jingoistic, so racist. I mean, everything, the Telegraph, the Sun, they're breathless. And breathless being an operative word because, you know, it was very famous with Team Ineos or Team Skies where then with Chris Froome and his bad asthma problem that he never had before and the whole lot. So I'd be very worried if he's a United fan, but your quick opinion on will it go to United or will it go to England? Or sorry, I should say, will it go to South of France or will it go to Qatar results?
I think it'll go to Qatar.
Go to Qatar.
I really think so.
Yeah.
I think it's not about the value per share per se. I think it's about what you want. Like, what do you want left to do with the club? But I could be wrong. And I also would... like the Glazers don't care about the publicity side at this stage. They don't care whether fans want something else or... I don't know. I think they have, at this stage, they've bled the Man United machine dry, and I don't know if they're going to think, yeah, let's stay around and see what else. I don't know. It's a strange one. And I suppose I just found the entire campaign, since we started discussing it previously, and you start looking at articles, you suddenly find it just a bit like it's not that you don't want him to be successful in terms of with the club, but you're like, actually, I would love it if United had to go, all right, now we have to try and not be like, we have to accept that we didn't get the owners we wanted. It's kind of, I don't know. I find the whole thing very frustrating.
Yeah, and look, I guarantee you this. United, and I said this, and I'll say it again, and this is the truest fact. Liverpool fans have been starting to whinge about getting, well, not started, it's been for a while, about getting the Boston people, the Americans out.
Yeah.
They'll be really complaining. Same with United. If ISIS rocked in, I said it before, if ISIS rocked in and said, we're going to pump in 10 billion and it'll be a super club, they would turn around to be black flags with the white symbol on it for ISIS flying around the stadiums. They would change their jerseys. They wouldn't give two damns. They really don't.
Like the Newcastle owners had to ask fans to stop coming dressed inappropriately.
I know. I know. The other reason was David Baddiel, the most right-on person around, and he starts praising Newcastle. I think it's great. It was like, sports washing works. And sports washing is what they do, not what we do. And so Ratcliffe has been sports washing for years, but it's not sports washing because, well, he's kind of one of ours, even though he's moved all his money offshore. But he's